What up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode is brought to you by HelloFresh, which brings you fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable, and that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Here's what they do. They cut out stressful meal planning and grocery store trips so you can enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in just about 30 minutes or less. I love to cook, so I can relate to this. Cooking is fun. The actual cooking part, deciding what to cook, going to the grocery store, and if it's just you and one other person, having to buy way more than you need to make dinner, then having waste on the back end, that sucks. Plus, a lot of the best recipes, like if you really have to prep from zero, take a long time. HelloFresh solves for this. They send you fresh, pre-portioned ingredients, and that way when you come home from work, you come home from school, you're tired, you don't want to commit 2 hours to dinner, you don't have to. From start to finish, it's about 30 to 40 minutes, and the food is delicious. The recipes, you can choose from hundreds of options. Each week, you choose the recipes you want on the website. They deliver you an individual bag with all of the things you need, the produce, the spices, the seasonings, all pre-portioned. So you don't have to like sit there and measure. You just open, dump. It's money. It is very money. And you can change your delivery day, your food preferences, your plan size, skip weeks whenever you need. It is a fabulous system. It's so good that even after my freebies for reading these ads ran out, me and my wife, we kept doing it for a little while. I even learned some new recipes. I kept like the recipe card they gave me. So if I ever want to make it again later, you know, or for more people, I could using that recipe. It's great. Go to HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire14. HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire14 and use code SmokingTire14 for up to 14 free meals plus free shipping. Okay, ready? HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire14 and then use code SmokingTire14 for 14 free meals. That's why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Speaking of #1 things, this summer, get the most out of your newfound, hopefully, ability to travel abroad by learning the destination's language with Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app. From ordering in restaurants, asking for directions, getting a cab, or getting a deeper understanding of the culture, Babbel makes the whole process of learning a new language addictively fun and easy. With bite-sized lessons you can actually use in the real world, Babbel is a can't-miss travel essential. Babbel's 15-minute lessons make it the perfect way to learn a new language on the go. Unlike those infamous language classes you took in high school, Babbel designs their courses with practical, real-world conversations in mind, things you get to use in everyday life. The teaching method has been scientifically proven to be effective, and they have up to 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. Plus, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you improve your pronunciation and accent. There's so many ways to learn with Babbel. In addition to the lessons, you can access podcasts, games, videos, stories, even live classes. Right now, when you purchase a 3-month Babbel subscription, you'll get an additional 3 months for free. That's 6 months for the price of 3 at Babbel.com, promo code TIRE. That's B-A-B-B-E-L, Babbel, B-A-B-B-E-L.com, code TIRE for 3 extra months for free. And we're also brought to you by Sennheiser. These guys make pro-level audio equipment. We've been using their wireless microphones and headphones in our studios and video shoot for years, and now they are in the earbud game. Couple things about earbuds. First off, they're always about sound quality, right? Sennheiser has got that sound quality. And for 75 years, while other companies have focused on phones, tablets, etc., Sennheiser has exclusively focused on sound. Their new Momentum True Wireless 2s deliver the best listening experience and have been finally crafted for even the most discerning listener. With their free smart control app, you can adjust the sound to your own personal preference with a built-in equalizer. And now you can switch off your surroundings and dive into that impactful song song or important episode with their new active noise cancellation feature. With up to a 28-hour battery life, these earbuds can last you all day and then some. Man, 28 hours. That's a long time. It's no wonder CNET called the Momentum True Wireless 2s clearly superior sound quality to the AirPods Pro and the earbuds to get in if you value sound quality over anything else. I have been a fan of Sennheiser since, I don't know, 15 years ago when I started using their lavs. Then we bought their headphones for the studio, and these earbuds, I've never had quality like this. They're all crystal clear, and unlike those other earbuds from the phone company, they stay in my ears. They don't fall out, which is another very important thing that's not written on the page, but it's important to me. Why settle for anything less than great sound? Hear the difference with Sennheiser. Right now, for my first 100 listeners who go to Sennheiser.com/podcast and use promo code TIRE, you'll receive 15% off the Momentum True Wireless 2 earbuds or anything else they make. That's 15% off when you go to Sennheiser.com. That's Sennheiser, Sennheiser.com/podcast. Use promo code TIRE. 15% off for the first 100 listeners. And of course, once you got those headphones in, settle down with the old Tradecraft Farms, the official THC CBD provider of the Smoking Tire podcast. From the most scrumptious edibles and delightful flowers to the most portable and potent pens. Wow, I really alliterated on the fly there. That was very good. Tradecraft Farms is it, folks. If you're in California, visit one of their retail locations. Hit up their website to see where they're at. I like their Port Hueneme location. It's a good excuse to drive your sports car. It's a good destination. If you're not in California and don't have access to these types of delightful goodies legally, just give them a follow on Instagram, Tradecraft Farms and Tradecraft_Farms. They take you to pretty much the same place. They own them both. Or at Fire, if you just want to keep it real simple. At Fire. Tradecraft Farms is the official provider of such delightful floral goodies of the Smoking Tire podcast. All right, folks, on this episode of the show, Gareth Reynolds is in studio. This dude is one half of the Dollop podcast, which is my favorite podcast to listen to, that Zack turned me on to a few years ago. He is a stand-up comedian, a cultural critic, and a student of history that went into it knowing nothing about history. We talk about all kind of stuff. Trigger warning. If you are triggered by discussions of lefty politics, this is your trigger warning. Gareth Reynolds on the Smoking Tire podcast. Dude, I appreciate you coming down.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This is what it is when you get that blue check mark on Twitter. You start talking to fools, being like, hey,
it's true.
I'm a fan and I am not as much of a creep as someone without one of these things.
No, I think Twitter and social media is so stupid, but yeah, that is one of the perks of the blue check. I'm like, oh, Matt, all right.
It just separates a little bit from the riffraff.
Yeah.
Slightly. You just investigate
Although there's people
further.
who are also fantastic who are not verified, and there's riffraff certified.
Dude, well, so the story of my blue check mark is one of
here
privilege.
I was in Dubai.
Privilege.
Oh, really?
Privilege. My wife works at Twitter.
Oh, wow.
And I've been on Twitter actively posting. I've got like 38,000 tweets since 2009.
Wow, okay.
No blue check mark, never. My wife got a job at Twitter, and I literally bugged her boss without even asking her. Like, yo, what about this?
But that seems pretty much how it goes in a lot of ways.
I think that's how you get one.
Yeah.
But, like, it was privilege. It wasn't like Twitter
now you're
was
like, hey,
oh.
I need you to go over to Instagram to retire from Twitter. It's time for Instagram.
You know how I got mine on Instagram? I bought it shadily by a guy who DM'd me and was like, I'll get you a blue check mark for $350. And I was like, all right.
Meet me in Van Nuys.
And he did.
Really?
Yeah.
You might. I mean, you might have to link me up with this guy because I'm like, I don't know what I have to do.
This was like 10 years ago, but yeah, that's how I did it.
Oh, he's totally gonna be like, yeah, I don't do that anymore.
I tried to. No, I emailed him for someone else like a year ago, and it went nowhere.
Yeah.
It went into the void.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Dude, for real, the Dollop is the only podcast that I listen to every single episode of.
Oh wow! All right.
I feel like that show has like slowly replaced the wrong history that I was taught in high school.
That's how I feel. Like, people a lot of times will be like commenting on what they like about the show, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, I literally am like sitting there going like, wait, what? You know, like, I hear it all for the first time too. It's just people hear me hear it.
Yeah.
But there are I feel that too. I feel like, you know, I always found it so strange. Like, you know, you've heard over the years, like, people say things, and I would hear, like, you're indoctrinated, and I'd be like, what is that even? And then you do, as the more you go through it, the more you go, my God, like, if this is calculated, which it in some way has to be.
The odds are so high.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's all crazy. I mean, there was no, like, the fact that white people just named shit. They renamed shit. They found nothing. And they're just like the person who like wrote stuff or just like got
it's
the
like
patent
troll.
It's
location.
the original white
it's like a
labeling.
location
It's
troll.
like, oh,
yeah,
you make
yeah.
wine? Can I call it Zach Wine now?
Yeah.
It's Zach Wine
Yeah,
now.
and that's how there's a Jake wine. I don't know if you've seen the Jake wine. There is a wine called Jake, and I'm always like, this guy, what's his deal? He's
But
like,
also like the reputation washing of industrialists based on
Yeah.
their monuments. Like, you come to LA and it's the Getty Museum.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, well, he left a museum. That must be good.
what a good man.
Must be good. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, actually, hang on. Lunatic,
Yeah.
narcissist, it's a real problem, actually.
No, and there
over
are
and over.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the things about the show that was also super striking. Was like, you know, I like, as far as politics goes, you know, I do not really trust anyone in government, but. When Trump was there, I was like, this is an anomaly. And it's like, no, dude,
Yeah.
we already had, you've had versions of all this stuff before. It's because we just don't learn about it that
Yeah.
we really don't learn from it.
Well, that for me was kind of like that sort of hang on, how did we get here?
Yeah.
Is part of what drove me to read a lot of things
Yeah.
from interesting people who I found on Twitter. Like, you follow Kevin Kruse on Twitter or Kevin
Yeah.
Gannon on Twitter,
Yeah.
like historians, you
Yeah.
know. And then Zach was like, hey, you should listen to this show. It's about history, but you know, it's the shit that they don't put in the books.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, my fourth grade teacher was never like, here's how firefighters began.
Yeah.
It was one of the episodes where after that I was like, Matt, you need to listen to this show.
yeah.
Or like, the way that like they integrated cars into the street, like
Yeah.
that people were just getting, you know, you just never think like, wait, there was a time where people like wouldn't pay attention to cars.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, oh yeah, when cars started, like integrating cars into the street was impossible.
There was no rules. There was no standards.
And
there was no
pedestrians
anything.
were like, what are you gonna do about it? It's like, we're gonna kill you. And they're like, wait, you know, it's
I'm
like
pretty tough, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You got a bumper? I got a bumper. I got two bumpers. What do you want? You know? And it's like, no, but there's so many of those. I mean, there are so many things where you just don't even, like wearing pants. You just are like, that was seemed pretty fine, right? It's like, oh God, no, like wearing
Yeah.
pants was not okay.
Yeah.
Women wearing pants was like,
Holy
oh
shit.
my God.
Showing a lot of ankle there.
Yeah, watch yourself.
And so it's hard to figure out where you start a podcast from, especially one, that's got hundreds and hundreds of episodes. And Zach, I said to Zach, I go, where do I start? He goes, start at one.
Yeah.
Just start at one and work your way forward. Because and like 3 days later, I was like, I'm at 30.
Yeah.
Because you start hearing these stories, and you and Dave do an excellent job of telling them and making them fun. But you just go, this is who we are. We are definitely this,
Yeah.
and it's great. It's been, and it's shit that like seems so familiar. Like it goes on again and again and again. And
yeah, I mean, look, it's so weird because the show in many ways is it's just a few things naturally. Like the component of telling a story is what it is. But the idea that I know nothing about history, and the idea that Dave is sort of teaching me, and then the idea that I'm going in totally cold, and all these, there's just a lot of elements that are just...
it's like a real-time improv class.
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, and really like it... Like that, I've been doing comedy in many variations for years, and like my favorite thing to do would be to just be like bullshit with friends. Like
Yeah.
that was always like the thing, and that you could do improv, but it really wasn't the same because there was an element of pretend there and stuff like that. And instead, it's like we now have this show where like Dave just tees up this crazy shit, and I, as a guy who just loves like doing bits,
Yeah.
just can't really help myself. But those first ones are so crazy. Like
yeah,
the show,
the first 100 are really, really nuts.
Really nuts. Like
and then
they
it
are.
develops a little bit of a theme of us versus them, but it's
it evolves. It's like
yeah.
a living thing in a weird way. But to what you're saying about like these things, like Thanksgiving is a thing that you're just like Thanksgiving is fucked, but you still like have Thanksgiving. It's like after doing that episode, I was like, man, I just literally think like we got to pull the plug. You know what I mean? Like there's just stuff where you're like, what the fuck? Why are we celebrating this?
It's not like every individual aspect of this is horrible.
Yeah.
And not even just the whole.
No.
Fuck.
Yeah. I mean, it's just. I mean, and. There are certainly people who, when they listen to the show, they're like, God, you guys just like shit on white people a lot. And it's like, well, like it feels okay to do that. It feels like for comedy, it's like I'm a white guy, so I feel comfortable like going after white guys. But then also it's like, in the history, it's just been really damaging.
And there's a lot of these white guys who are doing really bad things.
Yeah.
It's not like you're picking out like the really good ones, or even the kind of good ones, and shitting on them. It's
I remember the good. I like the good ones. I'm like John Brown. Like there's a guy,
that's a great one.
Yeah, there are good, but so many. I mean, there's this one I can't remember what it is exactly, but it's like very early on. Like it's a white dude trying to get some indigenous people to show him where like the iron is, and the episode, like as we're going through it, I'm like, man, just don't show this dude where the iron is. And Dave's like teasing it along, and I'm going, man, I'm just hoping they just like seriously, they're doing pretty well. Like no, and then there's one dude who's like
the Guano Island one, same kind of thing. Like don't give him your one thing.
Yeah,
like,
and then there's one guy who's like, I'll sell you where the iron. You're like, no, you're not getting any more iron. Your iron's gone. Yeah.
Just this morning, I listened to the most recent episode where, as is a recurring theme, it's the KKK versus some progressive organized workers. Yeah. And, guess which side the cops are on. Yeah. As it turns out, cops are awfully accidentally impartial to the KKK. And what year did that story occur? 19.
Oh, it's not. No. Sometimes the years are galling. Sometimes. I mean, they genuinely. I'll be like, wait, did you say 1950?
Dude, when the one that I listened to this morning, which is the newest one, ended in 2016, I stopped and went, what?
Yeah.
I thought we started with fucking hoods on heads, and we're in 2016. What?
I know. Yeah. No, dude. I mean. That's the thing is like I think when you think about how we are separated and kind of pitted against each other in the political environment that we're in, it is because it's not going well. Like they need to do that so that we don't fixate on the things and learn from the things. But when you actually do peel the onion, even not that greatly, you are astounded by what you see, and really just so many fundamental changes that this country just needs to go through. And it's just unfortunate that we live.
At all.
Yeah, no matter who's at this ship, the captain's always like, I don't know if we can make it to the shore. I promise. You're like, dude, you promised you'd take us somewhere.
Yeah.
Nobody's taking us anywhere.
Yeah.
And so you would think that we would be able to kind of coalesce around that.
And there's this thing with the show, like when you announce the dates, and it's 1800 something. It's usually going to be super ridiculous because it's going to be like the history of magnifying glasses.
Right.
Like this probably didn't start well.
Right.
But it's 1800, so you go, there's some distance. I'll feel bad at the end of it, but I won't feel terrible. But when it's like 1985, like, too close.
Shit.
Oh, man.
Well, we haven't learned.
Oh, yeah. There's somewhere he's been
I went to that high school. Fuck.
Yeah. He's like, 2012. I'm like, you got to tell me this before we start. I need to get my bearings a little bit. I got to get some bourbon.
So who came up with the idea for the show?
Well, Dave came up with it. I mean, the idea, his basic idea, he did the show where he just was reading the story kind of just himself, and he just kind of
was writing them all himself too.
Yeah, and he was just kind of going through it and kind of reading what he'd written and kind of processing it in real time a little bit. And then I think he just found that people were like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then so he had this idea of kind of rotating hosts. I'd been, it just kind of the timing worked out really well where I sat in for another show that he had, and then he had this, and he's like, I want you to be the first guest on this show. And I go, okay. And so we sit down and we talk about the Bundys, the Bundys who are
like Clive and Bundy?
Yeah, like Clive and Bundy. And we talk about that.
Oh, so was it a little more current then?
Yeah, I was aware of it. I knew I was aware of the situation. He was bringing up stuff that I didn't know, obviously. But it went well, and I think that he and I just saw a very positive reaction early. And so then I did the second one, and then he was just like, yeah, this just kind of works, you know? And so, and that's sort of what I mean. Like, he plotted that part of it, but then it was like, you know, he probably thought that, like, I'd know some shit. And instead I'm going, what do you mean Benjamin Franklin wasn't a president? And he's going, buddy, this is like a new low. And then that component of my love for improv and my, you know, holes as far as history goes kind of just played into the idea that there's some gamesmanship to, I don't know anything. Right. And so you just read me this crazy thing, I don't know anything, and I'll just enjoy it, you know, like
you definitely have the better half of the gig. I mean, if you're talking about work put in,
we just recorded one today, and I was trying to, like, he said it again, you know, like, because I do all the work, and I try to do this thing where I'm going like, dude, you don't know how hard it is to come up, you know, but it's like only a little effective.
After a while, you just got to be like, yeah, you know, life's unfair sometimes.
I'll go pick him up food on the road, you know what I mean? I'll be like, I'll get you spaghetti.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Like, I occasionally race cars for fun, like little shitbox cars for fun.
Sure.
And I'm pretty decent at driving them, but I can't fix anything.
Yeah.
I'm not, so I cook. I cook for the people that are like under the car fixing the broken whatever, and that's appreciated too.
That's how you got to do. That's how I compensate.
If you can't do feed,
domesticity that just kind of provides just the buffer to being like, hey, I understand my brain's little, but how about some spaghetti? It feels good, right?
At this point, you guys must have like crazy weird stories that get submitted to you, like, oh, you got to check this shit out. You got to check this shit out. Or, in the beginning, though, was it just Dave digging into the depths of the internet? Or
yeah, I mean, to some extent, it still is to some extent. But
like, is he like a historian? Like, is he fancy himself?
He's not a trained. No, I mean, I think he. I mean, look, I think he. You know, he does recognize that he has a platform where he teaches a lot of people history that he takes seriously.
At this point, he is, whether he thinks so or not.
Yeah,
you teach 600 hours of history, you're a historian.
I think he does, you know.
But in the beginning, was it like an enthusiastic
No, in the beginning,
pursuit?
he just liked history. He just liked history a lot. And so, yeah, I think the first episodes he was just doing dives. I mean, I've written some reverse ones, and I will say from experience, it's like the minimal experience I have, you know, it's annoying in a way because you'll start with this one thing, and the more you'll kind of read, the more you'll just kind of start to, you know, find these connections, and then you'll find great stuff, and you'll be like, holy shit, so now this thing isn't...
Now you're taking a hard left.
Yeah, like I was doing this one about the Noid, this guy who...
The Domino's Noid?
Yeah, and so the Domino's, there's a guy in the 80s, I think, who, his last name was Noid, and he had some mental problems, and so he thought the Noid was talking to him, so he takes a Domino's hostage.
Oh.
And so I'd read this story.
Yeah, I remember this one now.
I go, oh yeah, that'd be a great little story. So I'm reading about the Noid and this thing, and then there's just like a couple nods to like the guy who owns Domino's, and I'm like, okay, and I like start looking around on him, and then it's like the 10 weirdest facts about him, and I'm like, well, anyone who's got a list, like there's probably some meat on the bone here. And dude, he's just like this fundamental religious guy who...
Really?
Many, many interesting things. Among them, towards the end, built basically his own little like Salt Lake City like religious city.
He did build the religious city.
So in Florida, he built this weird little city, and you know, it's just crazy shit. So, but yeah, I think a lot of it is that. I mean, he has people help him with research, but I think, you know, for the most part, he feels like he has to put a bit of a finishing touch on the stories, you know.
I mean, you know, I've learned, like, I have, like, ruined people's days based on things that I've learned in your, like...
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I had my parents wanted to take us on this train trip, and they had fucking Pullman cars, and I was like, nah.
Oh, my God, so recently?
I know.
Oh, wow.
No. I've really been like, hey, guess fucking what about a lot of stuff that really makes people not like you.
Yeah. No, I know. A lot of times I'll just bite my tongue. I'll be like, I'll let this... it's almost like you don't want to tell someone Santa doesn't exist. You're like, it's not my job to take Santa away from you.
Yeah.
Someone else will.
Yeah.
Go on. Go on your day.
You're like, Nazi meeting? Sure.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to ruin it.
Hey, go have your fun.
Oh, like that.
Your kids.
That actress
Will there be
in her,
food?
like,
Okay.
her detente ball in Virginia. What's her name?
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Detente. Debutante. That's the right
Yeah,
word.
yeah.
The word is
yes, detente is...
Detente is
a little more...
An indentation,
I think a detente, isn't it more like a... I feel like it's... there's friction.
Yeah, like when you open the door and it goes da-dum, like it holds.
No, it goes
in place.
detente.
That's a detent.
It detents. Yeah.
Whatever. But it really does feel like I'm getting like corrective history.
Yeah,
You go back and look at some history books and you go, oh Jesus.
It's necessary, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's. I remember when I watched The Matrix and I was like, oh, what a weird little movie. You know, really liked it. Great action. And then like the older I get, the more I'm like, man, it's not the same, but we live in this, you know, deluded nonsense where we believe in these things, and in many ways I miss when I just kind of believed in the institutions.
Well, it's easier,
as well.
certainly.
Sure, it's better. I mean, your life is less stressed. But when you actually are pulled out of the goo, and they take the plug out of the back of your brain, and you go, holy shit, we're just stacked bodies. You're like, fuck, I don't really have faith in so many of these things anymore. It's kind of scary.
It gets scary, not when I'm like here among peers, or even when I'm like reading things or listening to your show. When it gets scary is when I go to visit like my parents and their friends.
Yeah.
And they're not like super right-wingers or even more than occasional Fox News viewers, but it's when they talk about it like it's an aberration as opposed to the result of many, many systems.
Consequence.
Or when they talk about stuff that's just like, it's normal. It's just kind of moving on. And like, oh, well, it's Biden now, so we don't have a guy whose brain is actual jelly. But nothing really does change, right? You know,
and his brain seems fairly jellyish to me. I'll be honest. I mean,
it's a level of jelly. I think. It's slightly.
That's the
less Adderall.
For sure, less Adderall. I mean, we could use a little more. Those eyes haven't been open since '99. I can't remember the last time Joe Biden saw something. That's why people like he doesn't have teleprompters. It's like, no, Joe reads from the inside of his eyelids. Joe has literally not opened his eyes. We just write the words on the inside of there.
Google Glass in the back of his retina.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got the Terminator eye. But you know, I think that is the thing. It's tough because I've always been associated in my political beliefs with the Democrats, and so I felt comfort in the Democratic Party for a good amount of my life.
Yeah.
And then when I sort of started to notice that it was all sort of the same, and you start kind of taking a step back, you know, you do. I like many people.
Their Twitter threads look different, but they're like their dollars and their shit is like
it's
not
all the
that
same.
different.
I mean, we have owners.
Yeah.
Like we just have to recognize that we're owned by companies and that the president is a play. It's like we're watching.
Lobbyists have pens that are in red and blue ink, and they're like, which one would you like on the check?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, so it is also similar, and you know, the show in many ways does kind of have that baked into it as well, because it's like, you know, no matter we are very annoyed with our political system, both of us, in no matter who is in charge, and we see this future as very bleak no matter who is in charge.
Yeah.
And you know, it's going to take a lot of change, and people. It's very hard to change minds on Twitter. So eventually, I just kind of, for the most part, gave up.
Oh, you mean Twitter is reductionist and?
It's and I mean, and I personally like the feeling of, like, when I have engaged, the feeling of like uncontrollable rage versus the amount of space multiplied by how impossible it will be to change this person's mind. It's this
100%.
overwhelming sensation of like, I can't do it through this thing, you know, and it's the truth. You can't.
It's quicksand up a dune and like, why even bother?
There are some people who go out there and fight the good fight, and it's like, it's good to make points to people, but you know, we are so camped out now that, you know,
I try to, and then I just feel worse about myself.
Yeah, that's where I got. I eventually said this. I don't. There's not enough good feeling in this for me to try. So
I stopped doing it politically entirely. People pretty much understand where I am on these issues, and so I don't need to just repeat myself over and over.
Yeah,
but where
I choose to.
Yeah, right.
On our
well,
show.
It's part of your show. So, but staying in my lane, so to speak, with cars.
Yeah,
you know. where I'm at now is the danger of the most valuable car company in the world selling people something, and so wink wink saying that your car's going to drive itself, but it fucking ain't.
Right.
And it's a financial fraud, and
I feel like I know who you're
fraud.
talking about, but
Maybe.
I don't want to say any names.
I don't know, but I mean, someone who definitely
Biden, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Richard Branson.
Yeah.
And our newest astronaut.
No, he got delayed, didn't he? Or did he go up
That
eventually?
motherfucker
No,
went to
he made it.
space
Yeah.
yesterday.
Oh, did he? He went
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, you know, good for Richard
I hope he
Branson.
loses her virginity up there. I can't believe that guy hasn't gotten sex yet. So weird. Name everything about how you don't fuck. What a loser.
That's why he built this ship,
It's
right?
about purity, Gareth. Purity.
I'm going to fuck a Martian up there. You watch. I'm going to have some green tang. You check it.
He's going to be the first dude to hang glide on the fucking moon or something.
Oh,
right?
that would be so great.
I'm
Watch
going
his
to
head pop.
space paraglide.
Richard, your helmet. Oh, no.
That's how he got all the energy to make this giant company and make all the money. He just never has.
Yeah, sperm's my fuel. I come in myself every day. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he went though. They did it.
Yeah, no, they're all
did
going
it.
up there, and
Hopefully, one of them won't come back.
oh man, it would be a dream.
But it just that's the hill I die on, because I ride my fucking motorcycle on the street too. And if you're putting this bullshit beta software that's not ready for prime time in cars and letting people with influence think that they drive themselves, that's very, very dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly felt some trepidation about that world myself.
It is sketchy.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, very sketchy.
Yeah.
We have an automation expert coming on the show next week to talk about just how shady it is.
Yeah.
But that's what other things about the world can you never look at the fucking same again?
There's so much. I mean, I mean, just like everything for the most part. But, the one that is a real bug up my ass lately is the California water situation. So the California water situation is so terrible. And, it's been terrible for so long. And, like, our aquifers are fucked. And we, we're there. There's many water problems. And we're all being asked to conserve energy and water. And I'm very respectful of that ask and think that people should. But when you look at the fact that 80% of the California water is controlled by one family whose main priority is not giving water to people, but it is producing agriculture that they profit from in I mean, you talk about like this, a water monopoly.
Yeah.
A water monopoly exists
for
them to grow nuts and cuties and pistachio, and cherries and all these sort of luxury. And the fact that while I think we probably should get rid of golf courses and shit, the fact that we're not cutting this tree down the fact that this is not the first place we're going, being someone who lives in California, it does make me just go like, what the fuck? Like there are these things that make me go, we will not be able to make it through these crises because of not because of Q or conspiracy, because the politicians, they just don't, they're not paid to give a fuck, so they don't. So Gavin Newsom, who is an idiot, or no, sorry, who's corrupt, and been bought into this system again, versus Caitlyn Jenner, someone who is also extremely wealthy. So these two extremely wealthy people who are again being pitted at each other with these minutia differences. It's like how about someone who's just like, hey, I'm gonna go take down the Resnicks, and completely remove their rights, however I have to do it.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, the Resnicks, Linda and the fuck is her husband's
I don't
name?
know.
Whatever.
Gussie.
They're the Wonderful Company, Palm Wonderful, and they own a bunch of different nut companies and fruit companies, and they own the rights to get free water.
They basically signed a crazy deal at the right. It just was this conflation of events, and nobody should fault this. Like, I don't fault this guy for getting the best water deal ever, but it's time to undo it. And that is the same thing with like the billionaire class we have, where it's like I don't fault these guys for trying to win the video game money, but it's time to stop that system.
At a certain point, if you're in the hundreds of billions,
we literally should be putting these guys in space, but it should be our tax dollars being like, get the fuck out, like
take a break.
For it.
It's like take a break.
Yeah. We're putting you on space timeouts. Bezos, this is crazy. Get the fuck off of Earth for a year. Go think about what you've done.
I watched this like a week ago. This is Water and Power, California Heist, National Geographic documentary. It was really interesting.
I think it's on Netflix, right?
It's something. Maybe I watched it on the plane, but I'm sure you can just look up where to watch. But
it's great and it's
fascinating,
and it just gives you all the information quickly too.
Well, it was
as does the episode
crazy.
of the
you could
podcast.
listen to the Dollop,
Also the Dollop.
and you could have the same information, but
Time
with
has come
Gareth's
on.
characters.
Yeah. Actually, don't watch this shit. They lie in this. This is full of corporate bullshit. The Dollop gives you the straight feed. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I will. The Dollop explained the family and the business, and what this helped explain to me is how the public water rights were signed over to a private institution. And I feel like in that meeting, because they weren't in the meeting, but they're like, at the end of this meeting, this was the deal. And it's like, that's a big detail.
Yeah, the words "they weren't in the meeting" are pretty operative.
But it just tells you that, like, I feel like the people that work in the private sector are just more smarter and play chess at a different level, because they walked out of there going, we got the public aquifer and we can sell it? Is this real? It's crazy.
But I also think that most people's minds don't go to, like, most of us are like, want to be nice. I feel like it's been veiled now by multiple issues in society, and there's so much constriction on people's existences and stuff. So we are at a point where being selfish, is not a bug. It's like how you kind of have to be in a way, because there's just so much terrible shit going on that if you have a family, I understand people being like, I'm just trying to worry about them.
Let me just get through this.
Yeah, but I think to some extent most people normally would want to be good and share. And you just have these evil motherfuckers who are they're just dicks, and they just are like, it's like what we were sort of saying. Yeah, it's sort of like what we were saying with, like, when white dudes came here. It was like, there were people here who were like, oh, you're gonna love the bounty. Look at all this fruit and look at all these trees, and the white people are like, what's it called? They're like, called? It's not named shit. And white people are like, no, it's fucking McDonald's, asshole. I was like, wait, what is it? And like that's just sort of how it. So it's just this impulse to make it yours or own it is just like fucking fucked.
Well,
like
the technocrats today are basically it's a repetition of 100 years ago with the Vanderbilts and the Gettys and all the railroads, and it's not infrastructure now. It's digital space, it's data, and it's e-commerce, but
it still is. It's still like the when before really doing the podcast, like I thought of FDR as this transformative figure, this like person who was, and we've never done an episode on him, but who was just like, saw this system and was like, I'm going to fight for the little man, And Dave and I were doing something once, I was like election coverage or something, and I mentioned FDR, and he's like, like FDR didn't do what FDR did because he was a good guy. Like FDR wasn't like FDR didn't put all these things in place and fight his peers and say, like, no, we are going to make sure that we do not end up with a system where we have this ultra-rich and this ultra-poor community. He didn't do it because he was good. He did it because he was like, they're going to kill us. Like, these people will fucking lose their minds. The end game here is not good.
Yeah.
And so this is how you sort of reset it, where we can still have capitalism thrive, and we can still be fucking jerk-offs, and we can still...
But they position him differently than that. As
yes,
he's posited.
Yeah. He's posited much differently. But the fact that like Joe Biden was like going to be an FDR figure, like he's not doing the things.
He's not even doing the basics.
So you cannot have Facebook, you cannot have Amazon, like you just can't. It's coming for everything. It's going to eat everything. Amazon will take over everything. Shopping malls will be all Amazon. You might still be able to get your stuff, but you're talking about allowing one company to be in charge of everything.
Dude, how did you feel the
terrible.
first time you saw a physical Amazon store?
Terrible.
I was like, when a Barnes & Noble in Marina Del Rey turned into an Amazon, I went, oh boy, this is bad.
And when I was just in England and I was seeing the Amazon truck, I'm just,
There's a distributor right here. There's a warehouse right around the corner. Every morning, 9 a.m., about 80 trucks, like ants marching.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking
like
crazy.
a Pixar movie. Yeah,
it's crazy.
No, it's coming for everything. So it's like you don't need to be a Republican, a Democrat, an independent. You just need to be a human who wants to live in a good society to say this cannot keep going. You can't. I love the way that like, and I'm just going off now, but the way that like Chris Pratt is in this Amazon movie. Like, there's this Amazon movie that Chris, and I'm not like trying to pick on this dude. I'm sure he's like a fine guy, even though people at Twitter are always like, "Go fuck yourself." But he's making a movie for Amazon. So this is one of the Marvel superheroes, the group that fights the evil villains like Lex Luthor, who is now working for Lex Luthor in reality.
Right.
And we don't have the wherewithal to kind of see through that and be like, that's fucked up. Don't work for this asshole. Everyone stop working for this prick.
I mean,
if we all stopped at once, we would stop this motherfucker.
Well, that's what the other thing that the show says is like when the show repeatedly demonstrates that collective action works.
Yes.
I mean, that's
unions
the
are
other thing.
important. Collective action that you know, and that look, they're gonna tell you that, like, they're gonna laugh at you and tell you that shit is not possible until it is, and it's literally just like that. Until you show them that you are going to ruin their system, they will not play ball.
Yeah.
And the stuff that's going on right now, and it's mainly Biden, you know, about basically how they're trying to, the way that they are now kind of reframing like domestic terrorism, and the way that they're giving like the Capitol Police now like these military cameras, like the military equipment has come home and is being used on us. Like, that's fucking terrifying.
That's not good.
And that's happening at the Capitol now. The people who fucked up the who were like, I think 40 guys on duty will be enough. Like those people who put those officers in harm's way now are being rewarded with like, here's really like all amazing military equipment.
Yeah, like the police abuse of power. It's like, how about $1 billion in training and supplies? Like, wait, what?
Yes.
Hey, wait, hang on.
And making it so that you can't protest shit. Like the stuff they're now doing, that there are, you know, they're just, they recognize that they have a public that, you know, January 6th is not going to be an anomaly.
Did you watch the, I mean, I know New York Times isn't always the greatest arbiter of everything, but they made a 35-minute
of the
timeline of the events. Bro, they got in every fucking door.
Yeah.
They got, like, they had a 3D model and, like, breach points, and it was, like, 12 breach poinents.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
No, they should rename it Breach Points.
And they, you know, they followed various people, you know, around. From the early morning till, like, 3 p.m. They were like, and here he is, and here he is, and here he is. And it was a few different people, and they had there was paramilitary people moving in unison, communicating armed like crazy.
Don't you feel like they're like, if I was a lawyer for someone who like stormed the Capitol, I'd be like, yeah, you made it really easy. Like, in my client's defense, like, you made it so easy. Like, I mean, he shouldn't have been holding the gavel. He shouldn't have taken the chair. But why the fuck did he grab the chair? What the fuck?
There were 7 people there.
Yeah. So
it was really crazy.
But all that stuff,
it was not defended.
Yes, and so like it's, you know, man, look, it's becoming a really, really fucked system, and I'm very alarmed by it. And, you know, what is great about our show is that we don't need
comforting to know it's not the first time.
And we don't talk about current events until the end for the most, you know what I mean? You're sitting there going, holy fuck, oh shit. And then it's eventually at the end, you're like, it's kind of like this, or, you know, but it all relates back to like capitalism or Amazon at this point, you know, it's all just, it's a little too easy. It's almost like we don't do it anymore very much because we're like, it's all fucked.
No, when you say Amazon, another recent one was 2 or 3 episodes back, Curtis Turner, which is about a race car driver.
Yeah.
And I got a few really good chuckles in there because it's funny to hear people who know absolutely nothing about cars try to describe specific terms or like words that they find funny.
Or like when I like most subjects I don't know a lot about, but I'll be improvising in that world, and I'll have so few terms to be able to
You really turned the name Humpy Wheeler into...
you gotta have fun.
Well, I mean, listen, NASCAR driver, you know, these Southern guys... pre-1990. They
Yeah.
were named some crazy shit.
Oh yeah.
Dick Trickle.
Dick Trickle. I like grew up into Dick Trickle being like a name I was, and then one day I was like, well, why is that a name?
It's a great fucking name, isn't it?
But it sounds like chlamydia.
It sounds like a diagnosis.
Yeah, it sounds like a symptom.
There's I talk about this a lot on the show. There's a legendary Dick Trickle video on YouTube. You know, back in the day, they would race with open face helmets,
Right.
You know, like ping pong ball kind of helmets you call them. And Dick Trickle had a pack of Winston cigarettes and a lighter installed in his NASCAR. And when they'd have a caution, he'd smoke. And so they'd cut to him on fucking television, and here's Dick Trickle having a little smoke break here, and he's leading third right now.
That's the country I want to live in. Like, I want to get back. That is such a, it's astounding. But it's also like when you used to watch like NFL coaches smoke. You're like, so they're on the sideline like, come on, Cooper, get in there.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle's still doing it. He's going to fuck you. I'll smoke on stage.
I'll tell you, like, I basically stopped smoking cigarettes and a vape because of stand-up. And just because it's like, it's too much on my voice, I could not imagine smoking during shows.
Dice Clay too.
Yeah.
Dennis Leary.
There's a lot who
Some
do.
people.
Bill
Ron
Hicks.
White.
Yeah, Ron
really
White,
lean.
yeah.
They really lean on it. I think they just really
It's
need
almost
something
like
to do
a-
with their hands.
Well, it almost becomes like a prop for them at that point.
Well,
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
It's an
Yeah.
intentional breath.
Right.
It's a visual
It's
effect.
also so great. Like,
You look so
I
cool.
miss smoking things.
How long did you smoke for?
I mean, I smoked cigarettes on and off for, I mean, like, I started when I was like 14.
Right.
Basically. So I smoked for a cumulative probably around 20-ish years.
Yeah.
I had a number of years off in between, but
That's
yeah.
a run.
I had
That's
a run. I had a
was
Dick
like
Trickle run.
college, like 18 through 2016. So
Yeah.
that was a run too.
Yeah, I miss them.
15 years or so.
The second that, like, I kind of wish we had the Armageddon Deep Impact moment where, like, someone is like, hey, there's a meteor, you guys have like 2 days. Because like, I would much rather that version than the slow burn that we're gonna go through, because then I would just be like, oh, I can smoke. Like, I would smoke, I would just
Give
be
me this
drinking.
timeline and let's just fucking
Yeah,
go.
just whatever, you know what I mean? Just like whatever, just like literally
like
just
a personal purge
on
day
Tinder,
before.
just swiping everything right until like, I'm like, look, you're 7 miles away, it's not gonna work. You know, like, it's
We
just
have
the
4 hours
distance.
left till the
It's
asteroid
4
hits.
hours. You're 7 miles away to LA traffic during a fucking Armageddon.
You
Right.
show up at their door with just a carton half open. Just
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
Zach and I have motorcycles for Armageddon escape if we need.
Oh,
to
it's
if we need to
genius.
get the fuck out of LA.
Yeah,
Two
that's-
wheels. Is
And then
how
we're
it's
going to learn
doing
that
it.
we're not that good at camping.
Then we're going to learn that we don't survive in the.
Yeah.
You guys
in
got to
Mad
bring
Max
your
lands.
detents. Bring your detents
Exactly.
to the
Good-
camp.
good call.
No, but I read this book called Emergency by Neil Strauss. And that's one of the things he basically is in. I think it's for 9/11. He's in LA, and he's like, man, if this was not New York, I'd be fucking fucked.
Yeah.
And so he basically wrote a book on like what he would do to survive the shit. And one of them,
We should get that somewhere besides Amazon.
yeah, exactly. And one of them, by the way, I tried to order through I order books like normally through like Barnes and Noble or like a smaller place, and I'll tell you, the difference in experience is unreal. It's like I'm like on week 4 with Barnes and Noble. Like, look, I don't need this Robert Mondavi book, but like, do we have eyes on it? Like, what's the angle here? Are we sure it's around? Does it exist?
They sent it by horseback, but the horse got lost.
Yeah, no, everything. I'm
Dude,
like,
I read the book about Uber, and like, I don't want to give them my business, but like,
No.
what am I supposed to do? Call a phone number? And
dude, I
like,
took a cab. I was so fucked the other day that I took a cab. I was like, I go in crazy directions to try to not use Uber. Every now and then there's, like if I'm in another country or something, you're totally fucked, you have to. But I do everything I can to not use Uber. I took a cab, and I was like, man, this is a weird, like, called a cab.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe someone picked up.
Is it on the way? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see if
Yeah,
it shows up.
but someone picked, and it was like the whole cab thing where it was like in the background, like I heard like other
Do you have any
voices.
cabs? Yeah, we've got 10, of course. They're
Yeah, I
all
was
here.
like, you guys are still doing the cab thing.
Every now and then I'll take a cab from LAX because the wait for everything
Yeah,
else is
for
too
sure.
long. And I am
different.
immediately reminded why I choose Lyft
different.
or Uber,
It's
because
different.
they still act irritated. They still get mad that I haven't given them all the money I've ever made in my life. Doesn't matter how long or short the ride is. There's this added, and the car is just fucked up.
It is, in every way, it's kind of worse. But in a way, I like the driver-passenger situation so much better because it still keeps this, like, I'm working and you're chilling.
They're not going to talk to you.
Yeah. And they'll be on the phone. And I remember when I used to just be like, you know, I'd be like, what's that? He'd be like, oh, there's nothing to you, sir. I was actually just talking to my friend. I'm like, oh, go do your thing. You know, I'll watch this video.
They got a lot of family to catch up with over there.
That's
whoever they're on the phone with.
But to me, I'm like, I like that better. And I'll talk to, like, you know, Lyft drivers all the time. But I like that better than the, like... Hey, yeah.
There's a required friendship
They do have
now.
the quiet option
But
now.
I feel fucking shitty doing. I feel shitty.
It's an auto option. It's like getting the money through this.
But
it's there for you.
I can't be like, I don't want my slave to talk. Like, I can't get myself there where I'm like, no, slave.
I can't.
I want my AC on and I want some gum, and if he talks, it'll be his tongue.
You can passive aggressive it with headphones. I mean, that's the.
I've done that, or I FaceTime my mother sometimes. You know, I'll apologize. I just don't want to talk the whole time.
Yes.
That's what I want.
But I feel like that it's like a roller coaster sometimes. It just starts going and I'll be nice, and then I'm like, oh, I have 12 more minutes, and now we got to carry this conversation.
I'll tell you what, I invite most drivers who pick me up for stand-up shows and I invite them to the show. To the show. Most of them. Unless I'm like, there's something off with this guy. You know, but for the most, I would say 90%. And I try to defer the what do I do conversation until at least the back end of the ride.
Yeah.
But then I can hit them with the, oh yeah, I do stand up, talk about it if it's interesting to them, and then be like, that's a good, I feel like I've done a good job, and I'm not tired for my show that night.
Yeah.
You know?
I have a made up job. Just in case.
I have one too.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I don't. It's not even that made up. I just say I park cars.
Yeah, that's good.
I park cars. Yeah, no one cares anymore.
I used to work construction, so if I'm in a pinch, I'll just say construction.
Yeah. What's your club in LA? Where do you like to work?
You know, here's what's great about me, Matt. None of the clubs in LA give a fuck about me. Oh. So I really don't go up much in LA. The West Side Comedy Theater in Santa Monica is a place where my buddy Chris is. It's his theater, and I'll go up there, and I love that place. And then I used to go to Flappers a good amount, but I am on the road now. Normally, like when performing on the road mainly, and to me, I just kind of prefer that.
I mean, the podcast is great for road gigs, right? Brings them out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I mean, time-wise, it's like the difference to me between doing, 8 minutes on a show with 10 people or 50 minutes on a show with 3 people. Yeah. To me, I'm like gonna take the other deal.
No problem. Des Moines
time.
It is.
Yep. And it's easy to get to. I mean, once I'm there. But
you're a flyer or a driver?
I try to drive, but you have to fly for some of it. But I normally try to drive. But rental cars are fucking crazy right now.
It's a terrible time to rent cars.
So
right now.
we're with the Dollop. We're going to go back out on the road in the fall. Yeah, and we're really focused on driving mainly to gigs, and But yeah, man,
you're gonna rent a car for that? You should. We're gonna have a car.
No, we will figure it out. We're not sure exactly what we're gonna do.
The biggest podcast in comedy, like
between the two of you, for a road show, we can get a car.
Oh yeah,
make it happen. You should partner up with a with.
Are you
Toyota.
offering us some of your cars?
They're giving to the right.
Can we take a Lambo to our gigs?
We can take one to a local gig. Zach and I.
We're going to Detroit. We need a Ferrari.
They could probably
get
a
right
press car.
for that.
They could, no joke.
You
probably
could probably
get
press cars if you wanted.
Yeah.
If you actually, what you wanted was a car to take to gigs and do that much promotion for, you could almost guarantee get it.
Okay.
It would not be hard.
Yeah, see, we forget that all the time. That's the other thing. We are a lot of times just idiots.
You got strong numbers. You can get things.
You hear that, Toyota?
The people who...
We're not fucking around. You're in our world now, assholes.
The people who
we expect
sell your ads, they could probably handle it.
Yeah,
if not, we can help you out if that's what you wanted.
Okay.
You could make it like an EV thing because Dave is
No, that's definitely what I was thinking right away.
Yeah.
Well, we've driven EV to a couple of gigs, and one time we didn't estimate the mileage properly, which is part of the problem with EV cars. Even though I love my EV car that I do not have right now because of the battery. But we were driving and we were going, oh shit! We're not gonna make it to the hotel. Like I forget where we were going, like Sacramento or something. And so we're like, oh, we're not gonna make it to the hotel. So you have an app and you can find them. This is probably 3 years ago, so the apps are better now as finding like the wattage of the charge. This was not helpful with that. Yeah. So we're going, where the fuck are we going? And and we're low on miles, you know. So and we have a show that night, and so we're like, where are we? And we see it's a Harley Davidson place. And we go, oh, okay.
Oh, it's the charged live wire.
And it's a charge for the bikes.
Yeah.
And so we're like, we're right in front of this, and it's like there's not a lot going on, not a lot of hustle and bustle. So we kind of like secretly like park his car and like take the bike charger and plug his car in, and it worked.
Yeah.
But we were just like, man, this is just.
But then the amount of time it was going to take, you know, you thought you can charge for 15 minutes, and now you're there for an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we were definitely
The
I had
apps
weed
are better,
with me, though.
and now you can see it's a different. It's a 50, a 25, a 150.
Those superchargers are crazy.
Yeah, they're good, and the Taycan, the Porsche one, and the Ford, the Mach-E, which I have.
Yeah.
They can do up to 350
wow.
kilowatt, so they can really fucking.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, wait, can Mach-E do 350 or one? Mach-E might be 150. Taycan
350 is Taycan.
Is Porsche and Audi.
Yeah.
And Audi can do 350.
Yeah.
It's real fast.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like it so much better. My car, like I said, is in the shop right now. I have
What
a
happened
gas.
to the battery?
Dude, it just. I mean, there are issues with my car right now where they're being recalled because of battery issues, but because the mileage won't go as far as it originally would.
Oh.
Mine, on the other hand, my battery just like completely stopped.
Oh shit! Really?
So like, I started my car one day, and it was like.
This is an electric car?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I started one day, and I couldn't put it in reverse. I couldn't put it in drive, and I was like, this is gonna be an issue.
Yeah.
And,
wait.
and it
was
an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. At that
Turns
point,
out, no, but it's impossible to go places
Not
without
out
those
of
chargers.
warranty or
that
under
point.
warranty.
Warranty. So
Okay,
I'm gonna be
cool.
all right.
All right. Cool. Word. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's unfortunate, but at least they'll handle it.
Yeah.
You
But I have a gas car right now, and I'm like, man, I do not miss this.
No, I mean for
don't miss-
local running around and stuff. If you're not worried about the range,
I
it's
still,
way
even
better.
if I go to a gig that's hours and hours away, I would rather do a 2 hours of charging versus, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you like more about the EV or that experience?
First of all, they fucking fly. I mean, those cars, like, truly, like, I'll be like, all right, gas Porsche, shall we? You know, like, and I'm in a Hyundai, like, let's do this shit. I feel like those
the
Buick
Kona?
commercials, yeah.
Yeah, they're quick. Those cars.
Oh,
The Kona
dude, that car.
EVs. Yeah, they rip.
And you can put it in EV Sport or whatever, and I'll have an EV, but if you go to Sport, you're like, dude, this car is moving.
Dump some electrons.
Yeah, getting rid of them. And then I also
you can drive like a total piece of shit because you're not making noise. You're not really worried about being an asshole.
You know, it actually is bad for animals. And like
Right.
deer and shit are just like, there's nothing coming, and then like, what the hell, angels? Damn. But that's my car.
Oh, look at
yeah,
this.
and it
Kona
costs
electric battery worldwide recall
Yeah.
costs $900 million.
Yeah, which
Oh,
again,
wow.
I think is how they drew it up in the business plan. They go, and then in year 3, we do the $900 million recall.
This is the oopsie clause.
This is the year where we're going to lose a lot. You know what I mean? Year 3, you want to really drop profits. I found in my business experience. But then I also like not getting gas. I like not using gas. I like not paying for gas. I like not being involved in gas stations in any way.
Fair.
I enjoy it.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a good system if it works for your life.
It does, and you know, the truth is there are certainly times where there are inconveniences, and you're like, well, it'd be a lot easier. But
You want to talk about inconveniences? Zach tried to road trip a hydrogen car
Whoa.
from L.A. to San Francisco and back.
What?
You know that's a thing that they make.
What happened?
I spent a couple extra nights on the road.
You think it's hard to find electricity sometimes?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, where are you like? Y'all sell hydrogen? No, like car hydrogen.
You guys
one
got a
place.
blimp that I can tap
Yeah.
into and just a little bit?
There's
one place.
in between Los
Did
Angeles.
you do any research? What happened? Was this a
Minimal.
dare?
Minimal.
Hostage?
It's his
I
job
used
to
map,
do shit
I used
like
the
this.
map
Oh, okay.
in between L.A. County and San Francisco Bay Area. There's one place. You know
And
that-
how-
And
It's the
they were
Harris
out.
Ranch. You know the Harris Ranch?
No.
The place, you know where it smells like
Oh
cat?
my
Super
God! Shit Valley.
Shit Valley. So Shit Valley Hotel, which is apparently where people vacation sometimes.
The
or by
sign just
accident.
says, "You won't smell it for too long. Eventually, it becomes normal."
Your
Hit
olfactory glands
recirculate
get used.
now.
Yeah.
They need a sign.
No
on it that
AC.
says
It's a good thing. Wow. Oh God, that drive. That's.
Yeah.
You
it was
remember-
it was a test car. It wasn't his car. But
I know, but
One station and it can run out.
Yeah, I learned on the phone.
It can run
they were like,
out.
Sorry, it's out. And I was like, okay.
I'm in a pile of poop, so I'm going to need you to help. Send the hydrogen tow truck? I don't know what we do here. So what happened?
I had to literally get a hotel room until the next day when the hydrogen delivery truck showed up at noon. And then the quick and dirty is it takes about 20 to 30 minutes for each car to fill with hydrogen. So I was third in line. So the truck showed up. About 2 p.m. I was on the road.
Wow. It seems like it's not ready
That was
yet.
like a 24-hour fuel stop.
Like, I think that sounds great. Yeah, that sounds great. And eventually,
eventually,
we're not there.
Maybe it could be perfect.
It's not there.
But
definitely.
And I saw there was in Calabasas there was a pump that was like offline, and the warning on the app was like, due to high temperatures, this one has shut down.
Oh, good. Well,
that
due to
happens.
Hindenburg-like conditions.
Everything I read says it's going to get cooler. So that seems like we should lean into that technology.
Oh man, that not only is it bad for everything and everyone getting warmer, but it's really bad for the owners of old cars.
Yeah.
Who have no air conditioning.
And these hydrogen guys are like,
gonna be a real problem.
Well, we really hedged our bets on Earth cooling. Who knew? Hydrogen guys, what are you doing?
They saw that one news story. They're like, see, the Earth's cooling. I read this thing. And then
yeah, this guy, he's a Fox News scientist, and he says it's actually, we're looking at an ice age, so I think our hydrogen things are going to work out real good.
Guys, it snowed a lot yesterday, so we should hit go on this.
Guys, have you seen Delaware? It is white. Don't worry. Plow ahead. We don't need the patents. Let's move.
Still skiing in Maine? I don't know.
We're going to be fine.
That's good.
Are there ice cubes in my refrigerator? Yes.
Yes, there are. Is it because I'm stranded because there's only one hydrogen charging place on the way? Yes, it is.
It is. That is not a mature infrastructure system.
Oh, I thought it was going to be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been like fucked a couple times and just stay in random hotels, and I'm like, it could be worse.
I mean, at least they have.
It was good content. I got a legit great education from it in learning about hydrogen, and luckily my girlfriend's very cool and can work from home. But
you know how he got all this knowledge from hydrogen was from the driver who came to refill the station.
He was like, "This is stupid."
So here's everything you need to know about hydrogen.
So it's time to have an important talk now that you're halfway through your road trip in the hydrogen car.
Everything went black and white.
What is hydrogen? Come this way, Zach. I'm going to take you to the hydrogen store. This is where the hydrogen's produced. Now, you've only got one of these on this drive that you need to see 4 or 5 times.
How long will it take me to fill up?
Why, at about 20 to 30 minutes, but you're far back in line, sweetie pie.
Yeah. Yes. That. Exactly fucking that. Yeah, it's bad. But so when the apocalypse hits LA, what's your escape plan?
Well, I probably to just die. I mean, I've pretty much like kind of resigned myself in this way that like it's coming probably soon. And it's just gonna be what it is. And some of us are gonna fight it out for another, whatever, 10, 20, enjoy that phase.
Yeah.
Not gonna be enjoyable, you'd probably be eating your friends and shit like that. And again, if I'm around for that, let's go. I'll eat my buddies and whatever. But if I die before that, that's okay too. Like I don't really want the stress of, being in the forest.
You'll be one of the people flying through the air.
I kind of am like, I don't want to get to that phase. Like, I'm down to try. Like, I'll definitely try to get to a river where I'm like, eating like shelled crustaceans that are raw and being like, I don't know, I probably shouldn't drink this water with the parasites. But like, I'm down to fight for that phase. But I'm not gonna get like crazy about it. So like, when the shit hits the fan, I'll take my cyanide pills and put on some Tchaikovsky and just whatever, shoot heroin, whatever I can do.
Whatever's around, yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna steal a yacht. That's our move.
That's good too.
It's all gonna be Waterworld, so we're just gonna steal.
That's good. Remember when Waterworld, you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? And now I'm like, I'm ready to drink my piss through that weird apparatus. It's time. I'll have my buddy with gills. I'll drink my piss. We'll be living the high life.
And then the Resnicks will charge you for peeing in that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you owe us 5 cents.
Yeah. And by the way, from the looks of that movie, chapstick doesn't make it to the future. They were all like, you're like, ooh.
Either just dirt.
No.
Or cars, unfortunately.
No. Well, unless
there's
Mad
one.
Max.
There's one on that. Yeah, Mad Max. Mad Max is I think My second favorite post-apocalyptic future movie.
I love
Demolition
it.
Man is the leader.
Demolition's great. I fucking A. With that,
We're almost in that timeline now.
Well, but we're not gonna. I mean, Taco Bell's not gonna be fancy, and we're not gonna. There's not gonna be this. You know what I mean? We're not gonna. It's not gonna be like that.
Taco Bell would be my favorite experimental kitchen to work in, though.
Oh,
if I
yeah.
had to work in a fast food kitchen.
Well, there was El Torito. That's
another one. Yeah.
okay. So there's like El Toritos that I got familiar with. You know, it's like kind of middle of the road chain Mexican food. But then in Beverly Hills, there's like the fancy El Torito.
Oh, is it like the special one
Yeah,
where they try
and
the
like-
new items and stuff? Yeah.
Well, I don't even really know, but I just know one time, like my manager was like, "We'll go to El Torito in Beverly Hills," and I was sort of like, "This is a real shady
like
piece of
Muzak
shit."
in there.
Yeah, and then I went in, and he's like, "No, this is like the nice El," and I was like, "This is like a nice restaurant."
what if
Wow,
you went
weird,
to
weird.
like, oh, let's go to McDonald's and you get there and it's like white tablecloth.
Yeah. Well, they fucking should. They still call that area where pigs eat the dining room. What the fuck? That's so unfair to dining rooms to call where you eat in McDonald's a It's like
There's like in
it's
in
not.
Brooklyn.
It's
there's the
tables. It should be like
original
we got
Sbarro.
tables.
Yeah.
Table room.
Table room, dining room. Sir, where would you be eating your fries? You know?
Scarfing room.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
Pre-vomiting room.
Human trough room. Yeah.
Anyway, that's the things. Are you into cars at all, other than your electric car?
I'm really not. I mean, like I kind of said to you before we started, I valeted cars from when I was probably like 19 or 20 till I was probably about 23, and I ended up like I worked at this company for years, and then I actually did start to give a shit about cars. At least like, you know, I was pretty good about not abusing a car that wasn't mine. But I was also not opposed to like being like, I'll take the long route, with it, you know, go the long way around. But no, that was when I would sort of go like, holy shit, like when I would be like, oh, okay, so an
This is a little
A6 is like,
different.
and notice things, you know, little things. But I, for the most part, don't know shit.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We're not going to force you into some car talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few
Lock the
car-focused
door.
episodes, car-ish focused episodes of the Dollop. Janet Guthrie, the racing driver, female IndyCar and NASCAR driver, and the way people treated her made me that ruined a few people's reputations for me. I can't ever look at AJ Foyt the same way again. He was a real piece of shit to that woman.
Yeah.
Did you do a Dale one?
I don't think we did a
the one
Dale
of the
specific
the
one.
car
no.
of the Dale. I thought there
Oh,
was.
no, we did do one
You
on the
did
car
do
of the
one on
Dale. Yeah.
There's the Dale one, which they turned in. Not they did the TV thing with it.
Yeah.
Lady in the Dale.
Yeah.
Any other ones that you can think of that are
The
car?
two Daredevils, but that's not car necessarily. I mean, that's Evil Knievel and some other
the
guy.
Evil Knievel one for sure. Yeah, that one was a fun one.
and then we did one on John DeLorean.
Oh yeah, of course. Have you seen any of the John DeLorean documentaries?
With Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, did you see that weird one?
Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not
Really
going to be able to
strange.
make it through this.
It's really weird, isn't it?
It is weird.
It's weird because he breaks the fourth. He then turns into Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Dressed as John DeLorean with the
No.
eyebrows, just giving some of
Like,
his
just
own
make
thoughts.
a movie or make a documentary? They were like, no, we're going to smash him into one unwatchable form.
Movie, documentary, reenactment, and BTS together.
Finally.
Randomly assorted.
Combined. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But, no.
I will take this episode to this opportunity to recommend an Elon Musk episode because it's fucking.
Yeah, I'm sure. I never know what he's got like cooking, obviously, but I'm sure he's got some shit. I mean, we're about to do 500. We're close.
Yeah, you're pretty close. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, and for every 100, it's been something crazy.
What was the What was the
400 was Reagan.
Oh, Reagan.
300 was
nuts.
Trump.
Reagan, Cheney,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We did
John
one on him.
McCain was
McCain.
fucking. That one was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these are really, really. A Dianne Feinstein one was wild,
Oh,
too.
God.
She's the fucking worst.
Oh my God.
Ugh.
The idea that we should have 80-year-olds in our government in any way is just like so farcically beyond.
All you had to know about that is when Mark Zuckerberg went in front of the senators or the committee or whatever, and everyone just read a question like written by their
How
aides.
do you like a status? I can't. Is it the thumb? Because that should be called a thumb up. It's very confusing, Mark.
just fucking kill me.
Yeah, no, they're like, you know, my grandson, he posted a comment, but I can't see it.
Yeah. Mark Zuckerberg went back to headquarters and went, we don't have to pay taxes.
We're fine.
We're good.
We're fine.
Don't worry about this.
They bought it.
Yeah, we're good. Let that rush, the rubles, clear. We're good on the rubles. Bring them in. Bring them in.
No, it's. I remember when Ted Stevens, the senator from Alaska, he used to wear a Hulk tie to votes, was on some web council or internet whatever, and he's up there and he goes, "The internet is a series of tubes."
God, that was amazing.
And it was just like, what the fuck? This dude is like Bill and Ted's what the internet is like. It is tubes, and you move through tubes with information, but gets clogged in the tube. You were like, what is happening? How is this allowed?
He'd been to the bank where they have the vacuum tube.
So this is the Wi-Fi password. That's right, Ted. This is the Wi-Fi right here. Sucks it all up.
It's like those commercials, like, today we're going to open a PDF.
Yeah,
like,
God, those are great.
Fucking reality.
Yeah.
But we live in that shit.
Yes, I mean, well, again, I mean, I am gladly, as any of my friends will tell you, I can always bring it back to how our political structure has failed us. I can sour any good time real quick.
Yep, and that's where we're going to end it. Thanks, Gareth. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I really
Pleasure.
appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Gigs to promote? Anything besides just download
Sure,
the
yeah.
Dollop?
Since we've
What do you got?
Since who knows who's listening, why don't we do it right now? Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I will be at Comedy on State in Madison, Wisconsin, July 22nd through the 25th. I will be at CB Live in Phoenix, Arizona, August 5th. I will be in Raleigh, North Carolina, August 6th through the 8th. I will be at Hyenas in Dallas, Texas on the 19th of August, the 20th of August. I'll be in Austin, Texas at the State Theater. 21st, Houston in the Rec Room. 26th, Spokane Comedy Club of August. And the 27th, I'll be at the Tacoma Comedy Club in Tacoma, Washington. You can find all that at GarethReynolds.com.
Wow, that is a road trip. That's awesome.
I've been
Many
locked
gigs.
up for too long.
Yeah,
so
many gigs.
I had to go.
Very nice. And you're thinner than your headshot.
Yeah, that's what. Well, I'm taking new pictures soon, and I'm worried I'm going to do the opposite to myself. I'm worried that I'm going to
make yourself nice and thin,
and then go and get nice and road fat. Show up, and people be like, "Hey, Elvis is here."
Maybe roll on those photos for another 6 just in case.
Oh, I do. Believe me. Like, if it's people are like, during the pandemic, people are like, "You lost weight." I was like, "I haven't had fries." Like, once I'm back in comedy clubs, look out.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening.
I did well the first half and not so well the second half.
We've all. I mean,
it'd be what it be.
Fuck it. We're all going down.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Listen to the Dollop wherever you get your podcasts, and you guys also do them live. You're going back to that at some point.
Yeah, we have. We'll be at the High Plains Comedy Festival in Denver on September 16th, I want to say.
The live shows are so fun.
Zach and I went to see a live show in L.A. We saw the pentagram, the pentagram, like the drug company one, right?
The Procter & Gamble.
Yeah, the Procter & Gamble Satanism one, which is fucking nuts.
Yeah, all normal. Yeah, so you can go to dolloppodcast.com. We'll be announcing some of those soon. But yeah, it's very fun to do live. I mean, we actually hadn't been doing it in person until last week. And so, like, it's just so much better. So
doing over Zoom. I mean, it's okay. I listen to Zoom shows, but like, it's just not the same.
It's not. I didn't really notice how much it wasn't the same until we started doing it together again. I was like, oh shit, this is vastly.
We were doing virtual guests, for a while too.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah, it's harder.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I didn't hear what he said.
There's just a beat between each person.
Yeah.
It's just such a delay.
Yeah, but I'm glad we can make it work. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I'm gonna try and when there are gigs in LA, I'm definitely gonna come check one out.
Here we go.
All right, that's our show. We'll see you all later. Have a great day. Bye.